is an unbelievable nightmare for Mr. Woodfox. Many of these years, Mr. Woodfox had to litigate this case without representation, and he did that from 1972 until the early 90s when he was able to get lawyers. So for about 20 years, he bore the weight of this case by himself. And then for an additional 20 years, there have been teams of lawyers involved in this case, and the state has had a pattern of engaging in dilatory practices. And so the idea on the part of the state is every time there is a victory for Mr. Woodfox, they file something with the courts to try to delay proceedings. And so that has happened yet again, and it has been a 42-year battle of the state delaying the inevitable. This is an innocent man, and it is time for this injustice to come to an end.
And he's spent a great deal of that time in solitary confinement in prison, hasn't he? Tell us a little bit about the conditions that he's endured.
Certainly. He spent almost the entire 43 years in solitary confinement. His conditions have been consistent for about 43 years. There was a change about a month ago because he was re-indicted. And so for the last 4 weeks, his conditions have been even more extreme than they were for the 43 years prior to today. For that entire time, Mr. Woodfox has been housed in a cell that is approximately 6 by 9. He lives in the cell all alone. He is not allowed out of the cell for meals. He's not allowed out for church. He's not allowed to participate in any activities with other inmates. He's not allowed to even make a trip to the library. If he does come out of the cell to exercise, he leaves that cell only to be put into another cage. So his exercise cell is also enclosed, very much like his solitary cell. In his cell, he has a bed, he has a very thin mattress, he has a toilet, and he has a sink. For the majority of these 43 years, there were bars on the outside of the cell that would allow him to hear screams of agony, to overhear fights and arguments, at least to see the guards walk the halls. But for the last 4 weeks since he's been re-indicted, he is actually living behind a steel door. It is all metal, and so there are no bars on that door, and he's not able to see or hear anything outside. So it's very much like being sealed away inside of a box.
Given those conditions he's been living in for so many years, how do you think he might cope with being released?
Well, Mr. Woodfox has a team of incredible supporters, and we have all committed, there are many of us involved with this case, to not allow him to deteriorate under these conditions. And so his mind has been constantly challenged. We send him books to read, we send him puzzles to work out, we monitor some of his letters, and we can tell by his handwriting when his condition is turning for the worse. We make sure to visit and continuously allow him to use his mind and his legs and his arms so that he doesn't lose circulation. And so in terms of what happens when he transitions out of this, he walks into the loving care of many citizens in Louisiana who understand that he has been dealt an injustice, and we are here to help him rebuild his life. He has a daughter who he has reunited with, and he is looking forward to opportunities to get to know his daughter and his grandchildren. There are many professional people involved with this case, so there are resources to assist him with his needs, whatever they may be, and he will fall into the hands of people who will protect him and make sure that he marches on to victory. This has been a horrible experience, and there's a lesson in this for many, many other inmates. There are about 80,000 people right now in the United States who are being held under conditions just like Mr. Woodfox. This is not an isolated case. This is starting to become a trend in the way we operate our prison system. His is a little different in the sense that he's been housed for so long. 43 years is the longer end of this, but this is certainly not a new phenomenon in corrections in the United States.